Time is free, but it's priceless. You can't own it, but you can use it. You can't keep it, but you can spend it. Once you've lost it, you can never get it back. Hello and welcome. I'm FuturePast. This is the Apple Watch Series 7 review, and these are my thoughts so far as a new user. I'll be the first to admit I'm an Apple fanboy, but that doesn't mean I buy everything that Apple makes, as much as sometimes I would like to. Cha-ching! Oh, I'm a tech minimalist. All the tech I own I love and use it every day until it either breaks or something better comes along. So as a person that's always loved and worn watches, when I finally got my first iPhone, the 3GS, it became my watch, and a great many other things too. iPod, miss you bro. So wearing a watch became decorative rather than necessary, ergo eventually making it rather unnecessary. A part of me still missed wearing a watch, and still to this day I don't wear a watch per se unless it's for a special occasion like sports or an evening out, but all that has changed now. The irony of buying the Series 7 when it did seem to be the most minimum updates of recent years isn't lost on me. Many of us got caught out by the rumour mill having its cup runneth over, and was expecting a redesign, a flatter sided, more iPhone-esque casing. But quintessentially, what we got was a larger screen with better dust protection, with 33% faster charging. Everything else though was exactly the same as the previous version. But for me, all this is new, as this year I finally became an Apple Watch user. A watch is both an amazing encapsulation, representation, and utility of time in a form factor for the wrist, with extremes in its practicality and placement in the world, a eccentric statement of wealth, or a practical, functional utility of time. The Apple Watch is all of the above and much more. It's firstly a smartwatch, much like how the iPhone changed the industry of painful to use dumb phones to now simple to use very smartphones. The Apple Watch is in its infancy to change the industry of smartwatches. The potential and implications of what the Apple Watch could be in the future is exciting, in particular to your health. Imagine a device being able to detect early signs of a heart attack, or in the very far future, your blood markers for diseases or even cancer. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Back to what the watch is right now. I have to admit, I was very impressed with the build quality of the Apple Watch when I first got my hands on it. It seemed exceptionally well made and absolutely solid in its construction. I have zero idea though about its durability, but after looking online and asking some friends, it seems to be quite robust and uneasy to scratch, which is reassuring to hear. The Apple Watch face is unusually squared, as a circle doesn't translate information as well as corners do. This is why we don't have circled monitors at work or TVs. A circle watch face anyways is just an ancient representation of a sundial. Bands. Bands are basically the Apple Watch's straps, and they are modular in design, meaning that they can be swapped out easily and quickly to find and serve your personal style or life occasion. Apple has a good selection of official bands. They are unfortunately on the expensive side for what they actually are. There is also a healthy ecosystem of third-party bands, much like iPhone cases, although quality can vary greatly. Some, however, are not that far off the quality of Apple's own official bands. Initially, I ordered the Solo Loop, which is made of silicone, size 8, but I found it too tight. Swapped it for the size 9, now too loose. Orcs. So I've ended up for the moment settling on a third-party Solo Sports loop, which is made of soft nylon and is weatherproof and extremely comfortable for wearing all the time. Not to mention fully adjustable to fit even the most awkward of wrist sizes, like mine. I highly recommend, especially if you have the same problems. One thing that surprised me was the charger. The Apple Watch is only able to be charged using this MagSafe charging puck. It charges 33% faster than the Series 6, and 8 minutes of charge can provide 8 hours of sleep tracking, which is nice, but it also means an extra thing to carry when travelling, as it doesn't support native Qi charging like the iPhone, like the AirPods, and so on. Take a hint, Apple. Let me charge it on its side wirelessly, or rather, puck free, my guy. A quick tour of the WatchOS. Watch face. Swipe across to change to your preferred faces. Swipe down to view all notifications. Swipe up for setting shortcuts. Press crown to view your applications. You can also scroll using it. Side button. Press once to view already open apps. Press twice for Apple Pay and cards inside your wallet. You can deep dive into settings on the Apple Watch, but it is much easier just to use the iOS Watch app, in my opinion. Now a few years on, WatchOS has improved a lot and has become quite interesting on its own. It is the only one of its kind from Apple, with the lineup of macOS, iOS, which morphed into iPadOS. WatchOS, however, is singular and quite unique. I really like it overall, and after a good play with it, you get used to it very, very quickly. The larger screen now gives you a full-size keyboard, but some have still moaned that it's awkward to type on. Bruh, it's a watch. What do you expect? I find it perfectly fine for quick replies, and that's about it. If you want to write essay texts, use your iPhone or MacBook. One thing I did notice regarding the apps is that they are more like extension widgets from iOS, as in primarily notification based rather than functional and independent. There are independent apps with the new release of WatchOS, such as timers, which don't connect to your iPhone when counting down. In terms of improvements, more on that in the recommended section. In recent years, questions of our own health have been highlighted, globally and publicly, and also, in my own case, very personally. In an age where we can be mandated to stay at home and sit, I think it's ever more vital we move and experience fresh air for the health of our bodies and minds. Walking, for me, over these past few years has been nourishment for my physical and mental well-being. To clear one's mind after remote working or just being mindlessly entertained all day at home. The Apple Watch, in this sense, is like a personal fitness coach sat on your wrist, awarding your movement and fitness goals, reminding you to stand up and move, allowing competitions with family and friends, all in good fun and sport. My iPhone has always done this, but in a very limited capacity. The Apple Watch, however, excels in this area as a functional fitness device. Closing the rings recently has become a welcome new hobby, and my body appreciates it just as much as my mental health does. Also, the soft tapping of the Apple Watch's alarm for early morning wake-up calls is a refreshing change to a loud, obnoxious alarm or being shocked awake. Watch faces are an understated part of the Apple Watch experience. They are modular and customizable and can be with the iOS Watch app and the watch itself, the iOS app being the easiest to use and the quickest way. But if I'm honest, Apple has given us a mixed bag to choose from. Style and colour over function and practical utility is an unusual move, considering it's a watch. As you can tell, I'm not a huge fan of the current official offerings from Apple and kind of expected better, particularly in the design department. I have a few personal favourites, but a lot of them are pretty gimmicky, bordering on kinda tacky, over functional, fun, or even friendly to read. It would be fun to see a famous watch face section of well-known and loved watches from history and current times. I'm sure Apple could license or even sell official branded cosmetic watch faces like Rolex or fun Casio versions. Apple, if you are watching, here are a few of my humble recommendations. The apps are bunched in either a group view or list view. Both are okay, but I still think this isn't ideal. A swipe across from the watch face to a layer of your preferred selected top 4 apps, let's call them quick apps, would be most welcome. The ability to assign location-based watch faces, work, gym, home, etc., so I don't have to flick them over manually like an animal. You know how I feel about the charging puck. Let the Apple Watch have native Qi charging. Hashtag puck-free life. Pre-made iOS widgets could be ported to WatchOS. They are pretty much already the perfect size and there are many. A Mac version of the Watch app would be nice to have. Better watch faces, less gimmicks of fire and kaleidoscopes, more thought, design and fun instead. This is a first for me, but I'm not a fan of the Apple Watch's packaging. Apple, in my opinion, has for the most part set the standard for consumer design packaging, as it's usually minimal and beautiful. However, in this case, the circles on the back are non-intuitive, awkward and unnecessary, messy even. A simple slide or wraparound cover with the new pull tabs would suffice. The little sleeve that covers the Apple Watch initially was on the device so tightly I had to force it with 2 thumbs to eventually pop it out. Me no likey. The future. We have touched on health, but what I would like is for the Apple Watch to become more independent and more intelligent. I'm not a fan of Siri. It's slow and frustrates me to use. I genuinely think it was better in the early releases and has gradually become worse, so I don't really use it. But the potential for a fully responsive, intelligent Siri on an Apple Watch, I believe, isn't as far away as we might think and would be inspired, but probably would end up like the film Her. I would also like full cellular implementation as standard across UK networks, to be included in unlimited phone contracts and plans, but as it stands today, it's at an additional cost and not even available by most providers. I'm talking about you, 3 Network, buddy. Let me be free with my Apple Watch at no extra cost. Maybe Elon Skynet, sorry, Starlink, wrong timeline, could solve this problem. So then, in conclusion, should you buy the Series 7? Yes, if you are a new user, and no, if you have last year's watch. Otherwise, I think it's fair game to upgrade. The SE is a great starting point for first time buyers, and especially if you aren't fussed about the extra features. But if you want the very best, as I do, the Apple Watch is a fantastic smartwatch that quickly finds a comfortable place in your life and becomes a valuable and welcome extension for your iPhone for times where you can't or don't want to be near your phone. And now for a quick round of pros and cons. Pros. The Apple Watch is a quality device, especially in terms of build and functionality. It's great value for money, especially the SE model, and when compared to other watches on the market. The integration of the Apple ecosystem is obviously very smooth and convenient. The built-in fitness and health features are both fun and beneficial. The modular watch bands, official and third party, are inspired. Fast charging is always nice to have. Cons. The Apple Watch is a non-independent device and relies heavily on the iPhone for data and setup. Mobile networks, especially in the UK, are limited or non-existent and shouldn't charge extra on unlimited contracts. The square design is not to everyone's preference and is rather chunky on the wrist. The battery life is average AF, 1.5 days maximum if you're lucky, which isn't great for travelling, and requires an additional specialised charging puck as the Apple Watch doesn't support native Qi charging at all. 80% of the watch faces are meh and gimmicky. Give me better design, function and class. Apple, you can do better. Siri is still very hit and miss, so I literally don't use it. I'm not a fan of the packaging and it could be improved for a better unboxing experience. And finally, if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, or even donate. Cheers. Talk soon.